Hello, everyone. This is Gail, aka Sunshine. Today we have Phil Baughman joining us around the campfire. We're honored to have Phil join us and share his story and perspective as a cholangiocarcinoma survivor. So, Phil, welcome. It's so good to have you.
It's great to be here.
So, to start with, if you can just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, your family, your career, and I always ask people to include one fun fact.
Okay, I live up in the northeast Georgia mountains, real close to a little German town called Helen, Georgia, which is a lot of people have heard about. And I've been married for 43 years. I have two wonderful children. My son has three children, and my daughter has her first child 2 years ago. So I have four grandchildren, and they're the love of my life.
Awesome. I love it. And fun fact, are you
Fun fact, I think I'll use this one. I drove a high school bus when I was in I grew up in South Carolina, and students drove the school bus,
Oh my
and
gosh.
and I picked up kids first through 12th grade all on one bus. And my junior and senior year in high school, I drove the school bus. At
Wow, I've driven a bus.
Washington.
That's not a small feat. So that is pretty I like that. That's a very
Yeah,
fun
made
fact.
minimum wage, and it was a way to make money and go to school. So,
Good for you. That's wow. Okay, so what brings us here is cancer. So that's where I want to go next is give us kind of a overview of your diagnosis story. When you were diagnosed, kind of how it happened, and then maybe, a brief summary of your surgery and treatment decisions and things like that.
okay. Actually, I started off as a caregiver in March of 2020, which was right before the whole country shut down.
Wow.
My wife got diagnosed with breast cancer. And
Mm.
so we were both devastated over that. And we were doing virtual meetings. And so I was the note taker, and
Oh gosh.
she was going to have a lumpectomy, but it got put off. But about 3 weeks before that lumpectomy, we went on a camping trip. And then I noticed that my urine had changed. And
Mm.
I knew something was probably up. And we got home, and I went to the urgent care. They sent me straight to the hospital,
Wow.
told me how yellow I was and everything. Long story short, 2 weeks later, I was diagnosed with cholangiocarcinoma on a Friday at about 2 o'clock. I had been in the hospital for over a week by myself because you could
Oh,
have
that's
no
right.
family, no visitors, no nothing. And so we just talked on a phone, and my wife I put it on speakerphone, and she talked to the doctors that way. But they let her come in on that Friday at 2 o'clock. And then the story was there were when I got diagnosed and they told me what I had, cholangiocarcinoma, the doctor said there's only two doctors that I would recommend doing the surgery that I think you're eligible for in Georgia. And the problem is I have to get one of them to accept you as a patient to
Oh
get you
gosh.
transferred from this hospital to that one without checking out. And she stayed until about 8 o'clock that night. She said, I got a doctor to accept you. And then
Wow.
I get transferred to Atlanta. And on Monday morning at 11 o'clock, I go through a 7.5 hour liver resection uh,
Wow.
surgery.
And
And
so for those who may be listening and don't know, basically we're talking about bile duct cancer,
bile duct
right?
cancer, yeah, that's
So
what most people know it as.
right. So did they took out most of your liver, all
Took
of it?
out
Like,
60% of my liver.
wow.
And he was very happy with his margins and all that. But he did say he had checked 10 lymph nodes, and I had two nodes that were positive.
Okay.
So that he was going to give me 4 weeks to go home, get as strong as I could, and then I would start chemo and radiation. And
And you did all that
and I did that. four
and
weeks
finished
later,
up.
and I did 4 weeks later. I did like two treatments of chemo. Kind of the other neat thing about this cancer journey is my wife had her lumpectomy a week after my surgery.
Oh my gosh.
So But we live 25 miles from the nearest bigger town where the hospital is and all that. So she also had to go through radiation. So we went through radiation together. The
Oh,
oncology radiologist, he scheduled us. So when we came down, she went in one room, I
oh
went in
my
the
God.
other room, and we did our radiation together. And she finished a little earlier than me, but she waited until I finished and we rang the bell together.
Good. That is amazing. Talk
Yeah.
about taking in sickness and in health to a whole new level. That that is wow.
Yeah, it was something else. And
So you both, I mean, that was how long ago now?
that was 5 years ago. And we are
Wow.
both we've been cancer free for all, I mean,
Congratulations.
we've never had cancer. Either one of us had cancer to come back after the initial treatment. She
Wow.
never had to go through chemo, but I had to do 9 more treatments of chemo after radiation.
Okay.
So it was actually January of 21 when I
Okay.
heard those words, "We do not see any cancer in you now." So,
That's
and it's been that
wow.
way.
Congratulations. That's quite a
Yeah,
story. So
yeah.
I would imagine that your experience is colored by the fact that your wife had also just been diagnosed. But I'm wondering if you remember your mental and emotional response when you first heard that you were diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah, well, I think when I heard that I was diagnosed with cancer, like you said, it bile duct, liver cancer.
Mhm.
Well, one of the things, I have been a heavy drinker all my life, and so
Hmm.
I mean, I really kind of took it. It was not, I did not have that why me pissed off kind of moment.
Hmm.
I had more of the, well, you've done it to yourself, and
Oh
this is
god.
what you get.
Wow.
So that's kind of where I had a faith experience. I actually prayed, and I
Yeah.
really prayed to go either way. If this was the end, it's the end. If it's not the end, then I would really like to change my life. And I will have to say, I've never touched a drop of alcohol since that day I was told I had
Wow.
bile duct cancer, and I've never wanted to. I mean, I'm
Well,
totally
congratulations on that too, because I know that's not easy either. I
right.
mean,
But I
wow,
don't have
that
a problem with it. I still hang out with my old friends. They still do their old things, but I don't have any desire to participate with them anymore.
wow.
I'm just their driver now. I'm their
Yeah.
DD.
There you go. Well, that serves a purpose. So mentally, you kind of accepted, okay, this is what I get, basically. Did you have any emotional response along the lines of fear or anything like that?
Well, yeah, I say sunshine. I will say this about my doctor. The doctor only used the name cholangiocarcinoma one time. And then she told me and my wife both, she said, do not look this up because there's no
Yeah.
good data out there on it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be honest. Most people, I don't think, believe me. I never knew what I had until I had already gone through all my treatments.
You actually did not go
I did
online and
not
look it up.
know what I was faced with.
Wow.
I didn't look it up. She did, my wife did, and said it only took her about 30 seconds and she shut the page down.
Yeah.
But she never shared that with me.
Yeah.
But so
Wow.
as I'm going through it, I didn't know. But when I
Yeah.
was getting toward the end, I got curious. That's how I found the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation.
Okay,
And so
good.
I realized even after you read that data, well, you're not out of the woods.
No.
There's still a lot more that could go on. It can come
Yeah.
back. So I will have to say, I realized that death could be a part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, my friends will tell me to this day, I never would have thought you would have made it. I mean, the people
Wow.
that came and visited me just said,
Right.
I never would have thought you to pull through this. So I knew it was that possibility, but I
Yeah.
really just didn't have the anxiety about it. I think some of it, I've always lived with a positive attitude.
Mhm.
So I look at things, and I love a challenge. I was a coach. I was a ball player. I just
Yeah.
looked upon this as this is just another challenge I've got to grab a hold
To-
of, and basically I provided the grit and God provided the grace.
I love it. I love it. So as you look back on 5 years, now, I mean, the little I know about cholangiocarcinoma is reoccurrence is common,
Yes,
and getting 5 years with no reoccurrence is not common. Is
right.
that okay? So if you look back on these last 5 years, how have you grown or changed as a person? Kind
Ah,
of now that you also, if you consider what you know about the disease, now that you've done more um, research, I guess, if you can say,
yes.
um, I'm wondering how you've grown or changed as a person.
Well, like I've told you, I got involved with the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation. So, why by getting through this, I knew that I was becoming a unique person and I could
Hmm.
provide a lot of hope for other people. And
Yeah.
they have this program, a mentor program, where they will match you up with other cholangio patients.
Yes.
And so they will match you up, and then so I can mentor to other patients who are going through this journey. I've probably had about 15 mentees. I mean, I took this on as
Wow.
a full time job. I mean, it's my focus in life
Yeah.
is mentor other people. So I realize, and I still realize how blessed I am. I think back on, I feel like I went through a lot. I did go through a lot. I had a couple more surgeries after that, hernia surgeries and stuff.
Yeah.
And but when I hear other people's stories, it just makes me feel like my story was just it was nothing compared to what I see a lot of other patients go through. It
Yeah.
kind of makes you feel guilty.
It
I know
does.
some at
Yeah.
the foundation sometimes say, Phil, you need to tell your story because you offer a lot of hope,
Exactly. Yeah.
and but I feel guilty about it when I'm talking to a lot of my patients because they've gone through a lot more than what I.
Yeah. I do understand. I mean, it's both, right? I mean,
Yeah,
there's a gratefulness that you haven't. There's that survivor's guilt,
right.
and yet, like people have been telling you, you can offer hope in a way that other people can't. You know, you give them that glimmer.
Yeah, and I think sunshine. It's just I try to tell people I look for a positive. I don't care if it was the least little thing. If it was only getting up and going to the bathroom, to me that was a positive thing.
Yeah.
And if I did that one day, then the next day I
Yeah.
would try to go a few steps further than the bathroom and you just slowly
Yeah.
work your way out of it. But what I guess the way it really changed my life, it humbled me to no
Mm.
end. I got rid of anger. I,
Hmm.
I really got rid of worry and anxiety. I really truly live a day at a time and
Wow.
appreciate a lot of the small things. I love hearing
Yeah.
the birds sing, going out
Yep.
on the porch, watching the snow come down last week.
Yep.
We don't get
Yep.
it,
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
but I went out and had my devotion on the porch while it was snowing so I could
Watching
just,
this.
be out there in nature. And
I
I
love
just,
it.
I love just working in my yard and being around gardening. I'm a gardener. I like growing vegetables and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So I enjoy the small things of life.
Yeah. Well, and this might be the answer to my next question, but was there an aha moment where kind of making that shift, like you remember when that shift happened?
Ah, I don't think so. I think it
Yeah.
just kind of evolved. It's just like when I tell you I had a spiritual kind of experience. I wish I could explain that to somebody, but there was something that came into my heart that totally just gave me relaxation and comfort. And I trusted through the whole experience and never really questioned the whole lot. But
Yeah.
I had things to happen that I don't. Here's what I told people after this: I don't believe in coincidences anymore.
Yeah.
I think
Can you give us one example?
I think it was all purposeful. Um, Well, the one example would be that doctor when I went down for this for my resection, he bumped a surgery for me.
Oh,
This
wow.
guy didn't know me from anywhere,
Yeah.
but he knew how critical it was that I have that surgery. So he actually bumped another
Wow.
patient out and put me in for that place right there.
Wow.
And that's just unbelievable, that
Yeah,
something
and
like
that was from Monday to I mean, sorry, Friday to Monday, right? You
right,
wow.
right, yeah, yeah. And never
Yeah.
met. I mean, didn't meet him. I didn't meet him until Monday morning, right before
Wow.
the really early that morning. And then, like
Yeah.
I said, then they started prepping me and doing all that.
Mm.
And I remember talking to him when I was laying on the table before they put me out. And then the next day is the next time I saw him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. Is
great guy.
it was it through the foundation that you learned about Epic Experience?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
We we have a support group.
you have a support group.
We
Okay.
have a support group once a month. If you want to get on, you can just, and I mostly listen. And I actually got on a little late that day, but Mama Lou, I caught
Uh,
the end of Mama Lou's, I caught the end of her spiel, I guess.
about
I don't
Epic.
know. I guess she was at the beginning, but I'm that kind of guy. I'm a athlete. I enjoy doing adventurous stuff, but I hadn't done a lot of adventurous stuff in a long time. So I knew when I listened to that podcast that day or that Zoom meeting, I'm like, I'm going to that camp.
And you did. So when did you go to camp?
Well, I lucked out because I got online and read up a lot about Epic Experience and stuff. But there's a waiting list.
There it is.
So, but I was real fortunate. I guess the foundation and Epic Experience worked out a camp for just
Yes.
cholangio
Yeah.
patients, and you just had to apply. But the day they told that came out, I applied that day, and my doctor sent in my medical forms because it was like we're only going to take the first 10 people. So I wanted to make sure I got my name in the hat.
Yeah.
So.
So what stood out to you about being surrounded by people who truly understood because you share the same type of cancer in particular? Because the camps all have, all cancer survivors, but a lot of times
Right,
they're mixed. So in
right.
your case in particular, it was cholangiocarcinoma for everyone. So what stood out to you being surrounded by a group who could truly identify like with what you were going through?
Uh, well, for one thing, it's just wonderful to get to know another community of people. I've gone to
Mhm.
the conference every year in Utah.
Yeah.
They have a Cholangio Foundation host a conference every spring, and I've gone. And one of the things you get out of that is just sitting at a table with other patients
Mhm.
sharing your stories. And
Yep.
but there's also researchers and doctors and stuff there, so it just broadened it broadened my community of
Mhm.
knowing more cholangio people and hearing more cholangio stories. Now, I will have to say, in my group, I need to say this too. I was the only guy with 10 women.
Really? Yeah. I'm sure that added a whole nother level.
Yeah, no, it was fun because I got to
That's neat.
stay. That was at the what is it, the W Ranch. I got to
Yeah.
stay down in the workout room, so
Oh,
I
because
got
you
up,
got your
worked
own
out every morning. I didn't
perfect.
so, but here I was at camp, and majority of these ladies, there was one other lady who was probably about 2 years out. At that point in time, I was 3 years out.
Okay.
So so I was given a lot of hope there too, because the
Mhm.
majority of the other patients were dead in the middle of their
Yeah.
journey. I
Yeah.
mean, I felt sorry, just really hurt for some of them because, and some of them really had a lot of anger issues,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of things that I couldn't really relate to, but I understood.
Mhm.
I totally understood, but it,
Well,
it was
well,
just not
especially
what I
because you've been a mentor, I imagine some of the people you've mentored, Have not.
Yeah, I've already, that's the worst.
Yeah.
The worst part about the mentoring thing is you
Yeah.
lose friends. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't. I just lost one of my best friends. He had
Mm.
lived for 3 years, but
Wow. Yeah.
he he passed away this past year in October. So
Yeah.
that hurts. I have to
It
admit,
does.
it
It
does.
does.
It hurts, but
That's one of the hardest things about camp too. I don't know if you've had people from the camp you were at um, pass away, but that it's one of the best parts is meeting all these survivors, but it's one of the worst parts because
yeah,
cancer is what
it
it
is.
is.
Yeah, we've lost out of the camp I went to two people
Yeah.
within that year. Two people
Yeah.
passed away.
Yeah.
So that's tough.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. What would you say is the biggest lesson you've learned through this whole journey, either at camp, like through specifically through that, or just your cancer journey in general?
Um, I think don't expect too much out of life. You better enjoy what you got, and don't worry too much about the bigger things or the things that you're. Um, I don't know how to say. The best way I know how to put it is as a
Mhm.
coach and as a player. I always said you don't want to get too high with the wins and you don't want to get too low with the losses. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
because even I've coached some championship teams, and you have to try to tell your players, tomorrow is just going to be another day,
Yeah.
and
It's
life
true.
keeps going on. So, um, I think
Yeah.
that was it. And one of the things I thought camp was really good for me, for I think for anybody who's going to camp is when you're going through this cancer journey, you don't know what's ahead. You can read all this data and you can put in your mind all these things you think are going to happen, but they might not happen to you. Even we all take the same chemo, but I
Right.
might not have the reaction to chemo that other people have.
Right.
And so you can't put too much emphasis on what's happening. What's bad with some person might
Mhm.
not be bad with me at all. And so that's what I loved about camp is the fact that you go through a week not really knowing what you're going to do that day until
Yep.
that day gets there. And that resonated with me a lot because that's the way I looked at my cancer journey. I
Yeah.
never really looked ahead. Why worry about am I going to get deathly ill over radiation or over chemo until I actually get ill,
Yeah.
because you might not. I didn't. So
Right.
was a good experience. I mean, it wasn't a good experience, but
Right, but it wasn't as bad as it could have
it
been,
wasn't as
and
bad.
you saved yourself from unnecessary worry
That's
because
right.
it
That's
ended up
right.
not
Yep.
happening. Yeah,
Yep.
that's really
Yep.
good. Is there anything else that you would wanna share with someone listening that I haven't specifically asked you about?
No, well, what I would love for everybody to know, I want to help. I try to help other people. It doesn't matter if they have cholangio or not.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
always trying to reach out when I hear that someone's got cancer. I just want them to know, hey, I've got an open heart. I've got an open mind. I'm willing to listen. I don't know a lot. I'm not going to be able to tell you a whole lot, but I can pat you on the back. I can understand where you're coming from, and just know you're not going through the journey alone.
Mhm.
Um, I I did not meet a cholangio patient until a year and a half later when I went to that conference in Utah. Was the first time I ever talked to anybody about cholangiocarcinoma. It was a year and a half after my diagnosis. So, uh,
Wow.
and my doctors were not cholangio doctors, so they didn't talk a
Oh,
lot about it either. I mean, my oncologist, I'm probably only about her 10th cholangio patient out of 20
wow.
years of practicing. So, um, it's just a real surreal experience that I went through. Somebody knew. I think the surgeon in Atlanta knew. Because my oncologist said, I said, how did you know the plan? Or because my plan has been different than any other
Oh,
cholangiocarcinoma.
really?
Yeah, and I can't understand it. And she says, I'll tell you, you came to me with a plan. All I did was implement it. So I guess my surgeon laid it out.
Yeah.
He was a big. He had done many resections, done liver
Yeah.
transplants. He was a big liver guy. So
Yeah.
I think he must have laid it out for me. I'll
Well,
tell
like
you,
I said,
that's one of those things.
no coincidences,
That's
right?
no coincidence. Somebody was looking out for me.
That's right. Exactly. And it is easier to just relax when you have that mindset, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It is. So that's all I want people to know. There's hope.
Yeah.
Don't let it get you too far down.
Yeah.
There are going to be bad days. That's just part of it. But
Yeah.
there are bad days. I had bad days when I didn't have cancer.
Right. It's true. That's called life.
That's right.
Well, the last question I always end with is very serious. Marshmallows over a campfire, slow and steady or flaming crispy?
I'm a slow and steady person.
Do you successfully do it slow and steady? Because
I
there are those of us who try that and then we end up with flaming crispy.
I have learned. I have learned.
Good for
I
you.
told you I was a camper. My
Ah,
wife and I camped a lot, but
that's
my
right.
wife and I also ran a non-denominational Christian residential girls camp
Oh, wow.
for 17 years. So, well, she did it for. I worked with her for 10 years as an operations manager and a kitchen manager. But I also, another fun fact, I went back to school at 50 years old, got a master's degree in math education, and I taught middle school math and coached eighth grade girls basketball
You are a
for,
brave man.
for 11 years. But I nailed down my health insurance. I nailed down a retirement plan.
Good for you. Good for you. Well,
But so I've
and
done a lot of
I was gonna say you've done a lot of marshmallows.
I
That's
did a
the
lot of
moral.
marshmallows. So I've done them both ways. I will say.
But you have
Don't
perfected the
put them
slow
over
and
the
steady.
flame,
Right.
you get over the coals over there and you can do it low and slow.
Good for you. Well, Phil, thank you so much.
Sure.
It has
I've
been a
enjoyed it.
pleasure. I appreciate your positive attitude and you sharing the lessons that you learned along the way. I think you
Well,
do
thank you.
provide hope for those who are listening. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And to those of you listening, next time we gather around the campfire, keep living beyond cancer.